everyone. I've got something kind of special set up for you today. So we're gonna be working on just unjust. Unjust. Touching and testing your ears, your ears, your ears, your ears. Now, with me here, I have two of the most lifelike ear mics that you can find. Do you know what they are? Let's start with the hard one first. You might not know the name of this one. This one over here. This one right here. This one. Do you know the name? It is that one. That one is the SR3D. The SR3D. This one you should know the name. Of course, this here is the 3DO. The 3DO XLR version. The XLR version. There's many 3DOs now. Can you tell me what the difference between these two mics are? Well, 4 mics, I suppose, but what is the difference? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we're going to be finding out. We're going to be finding out what is the difference between this set of mics and this set of mics. I believe it will be quite an interesting experiment. So I will be performing very similar actions on both mics. And you can help decide which one deserves to be the number 1 mic for ASMR. ASMR. Or perhaps there will be things that one does better than the other, which is possible. So we're going to start off with something simple. We're just going to do some ear tracing. Okay. Some ear tracing. So the ear tracing we're going to start off with. We're going to start off with the 3DO now. I'm just going to start around the outsides of your ear. The outsides of your ear here. And I think you'll find that it's a little quieter than the 3DO. So if I touch right around the edges here of your ear, you can hear it, but it's not too loud. The closer I get to the middle, the much more realistic it gets, right? The much more realistic it gets. quite simple. But can you hear the difference? Can you hear the difference in the sound? Can you hear that difference? Here, I'm just rubbing my fingers right around the helix of your ear. That's the part that goes right up around the outer edge. And you can really feel my finger getting underneath that section. Oh, we can run over your ear holes. Right over your ear holes here. And you can feel my fingers going over them. I think the main difference for me here is that the ears feel a little more rigid, almost a plasticky kind of sound, where if we try that over here, you get a thicker, heavier sound. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? So, let's try something else. For this next one, we're going to compare the difference between sounds outside to inside, outside to inside, outside to inside. We're going to try to warm up your ears a little. We're going to warm up your ears a little, okay? We're going to scratch, scratch. Just touch. Very lightly touch. And warm them up. Like we're starting a fire of tingles right over here. Just scratching. Scratch. And touch. And we're going to take those sounds and move them over here. We're going to warm up your ears again, this time over here, with these ears. Warm them up again. Warm them up. place my hand over your ear. One ear. One ear. Like that. Okay. This is called ear cupping. Ear cupping. Ear cupping. Which generally is only a possibility with ears like these. Ear mics like these. Now when I cup your ear, you're going to feel the sensation of having my hands go over your ears. And as my hands are over your ears, it will be harder to hear me. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? And when I release one of my hands, well, now you'll be able to hear me just fine over here. But over here it's still muffled. Over here it's not. And now we do the same here. Okay. Same thing over here. You can hear me. Now you can't hear me. Now you can hear me. Now you can't. And as we fully release those, and we can move over here, we're going to give the same little test to your other set of ears. Isn't this fun? So we're going to put our hands down over your ears. Now, can you feel the difference? Can you feel the difference between ears on, hands on your ears, and hands off your ears? Hands on. Hands on. Hands on. Hands on. One hand off. One hand off. Over here. Over here, right here. This hand is no longer on your ear. I apologize for all the mouth sounds. These mics tend to pick up things that I don't intend to be there. Because we are honestly very, very close to your ears, and this is what it would sound like. Hands off. Hands off. Hands on. And just take both of them off now. A little tighter. Don't move. Okay. Now, I do want your opinion. Which one sounds better? Which one sounds better? We need to know this for research purposes, okay? Research purposes. Now, we're going to do a little more ear cupping a little later, but I have a bunch of triggers. This wouldn't be a good testing experiment if we don't test triggers, okay? So for this one here, these need to be wet. Give me 1 second. These need to be wet. It's not the same if they're dry. They're dry. These don't sound so bad. Alright, let's test that a little more. So these are makeup removal pads, and they're one of my favorite things for testing against ASMR ear mics. Let's hear. Against your since your right ear today. I think this will be your right ear, yeah. sound like on the SR3D. Here's what they sound like on the 3DO. I think you'll notice everything seems to sound a bit louder on the 3DO. It's just a louder mic. I actually have it turned down about 10% less than this one. So in reality, the volume is about the same. Simply that these firmer ear textures pick up a lot more sound than this one over here. Full of fuzzes. You've got fuzz in your ear now. You've got a lot of fuzz in your ear. So, do you help me decide which ones sound better? Which ones sound better? We're gonna play a little game here next, okay? This is a mic test, but it's also an intuition test. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out which one of these mics allows you to be a little bit intuitive. So I want you to guess with me. When you hear the sound of this card, when you hear the sound of this card in your ear, what card does it sound like? Okay. What card does it sound like in your ear here, left ear, I believe, in your left ear? What card does it sound like in your right ear? What card is it? Can you take a guess based on the sound that you hear? Can you? Did you guess a 6? Not a 9. 6. 6. 6. Alright. Let's test that over here now. I'm gonna just rub the card very close to your ear. And I want you to guess what the card is. Based on the sound you hear, okay? Ear mics will help you to realize the card. Which mic does it better? This card was also a 6. Did you guess a 6 twice in a row? If you did, congratulations. I don't know what this tells us about the mics, actually, but I feel like it would give good tingles. Good tingles, good tingles, good tingles. Now, the next thing we're going to do is whispers and cupping this one. I'm gonna cover that ear and I'm gonna whisper. I'm gonna whisper very carefully into this ear over here. I'm gonna try to get some very breathy whispers. Some very breathy whispers into your ear here. Because I think breathy whispers are very relaxing. Very relaxing. We're gonna jump to your other ear now. Now we just heard whispers in this ear. So I'm gonna cover this ear here and I'm gonna whisper down into this one next. I'm gonna whisper down into this ear and it probably sounds a little louder still. But we're just gonna whisper very slow and breathy. Very slow and breathy. So you can decide which one you like the sound of better, 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 better. Have you decided? Do you have a favorite mic yet? Maybe. Okay, let's stick with the mouth effects for a little bit longer. Now, this next one I want to do is just blowing. Now, blowing into the ear mics is very, very special. You can blow in the wrong spot and blow your ears out, or you can blow in the perfect spot. Just right about there, aiming for the ear to swipe right against the walls of your ear where it catches most of the sound and doesn't disturb your eardrums. Just like that. Just like that. Can you feel that difference? Whereas blowing directly into them doesn't sound so good. Now let's try that over here with the 3DO. As usual, I believe it picks up more sound, a greater amount of sound than SR3D, and there's a reason for that, which I will explain in a minute. Which one did you like better? Which one feels more realistic? Which one feels more sensitive? Which one feels best for you? That's what we want to know. Now, the main difference with these, besides the structural texture of the ears themselves, which greatly affects what happens when we touch them. The result of the sound when we touch them. Again, the example. What you also get is two condenser mics. very small condenser mics with this one, whereas this one is using a more, actually I'm not sure what kind of mic it is, but I'm from what I'm aware, it's not a condenser mic, it's something else. Let me look it up. So apparently, these are also condenser mics, but these ones are called electret condenser mics. Electret, which, from my research, apparently, well, they're not necessarily a superior microphone, but the description sounds superior. However, I know this one was made with ASMR in mind, so I'm sure there's a reason they chose to go with something a little different. A little different. Anyhow, we're going to work on the next thing now. The next thing I want to do is, of course, test some triggers in your ears. So I've picked up some new triggers after particularly watching JoJo's $100,000 mic video, which I'm sure you also watched. I think everyone watched it. Very entertaining. And he had some purple squishy things, which I thought were very cool. Now, I could not for the life of me actually find the same ones, but I found these ones, which are technically the same. They're a little smaller, and they have a little bed on top. These are beds. These are miniature beds in your ears. Didn't you always wonder what a miniature bed in your ear sounds like? It sounds like this. If your bed was a wire frame made out of squishy material, which apparently you can buy. These are the purple beds. So we're just judging how well does it pick up sound. How well does it pick up the sounds? And are these good sounds in general? I think they're pretty nifty sounds. Okay, now we have one more trigger type to test before we move on to air cleaning it. This is going to just be a tapping. I've got a couple circles here. We're going to tap them around your ear. I want you to pay very close attention to the quality of the sound. Which one do you prefer? Or which sounds better? The ones over there? Or the ones over here? Or no difference at all? I have a lot of tools for testing the effects of touching inside the ears, and we've been doing this for a long time now. We're going to start over here this time. Now we're just going to put these little fluffy cotton balls in your ears, okay? Right in your ear. Right in your ear. Right in your ear. Right in your ear. We'll start over here. We'll start over here with this ear. Okay, ready? Just feel how that feels. Already had one. Over here now. Just tell me how that feels, okay? Remember the feeling. Remember it? So we're going to move to the other side. Okay, you've got that in mind. Now we're going to hear it on the 3D. Remember, your feedback is helping you, me, really anyone else who ever has to make a decision about buying one of these two mics. So make your decision loud and clear in the comment, and we'll come to a consensus together. Once more over here. I'm going to switch hands. These are actually different types. We can do this with this mic. One more time over here. Okay, now we're going to turn this around, and now we're going to scratch against your inner ears. Now this effect, I can be pretty sure, is only going to work on one of these mics effectively, so let's hear. I'm just going to put this very gently into your ears. And then the next one. You can just feel that pressure against your eardrums. Switch this one. This one is a little rough. It's not a smooth surface, so I'm going to grab a different piece. This one here. because this one is quite unhappy with being scratched. If I'm careful, I can get just the right spot. So we are just scratching the base of the mic now. This one is simply the basic surface of the mic. So, as I'm attempting to scratch your ears here, I don't want to influence your opinion, but this is somewhat a skill issue, but also a build issue. There it is. You feel that difference? There we go. Alright, now I'm going to throw those aside. I'm going to tap on this shoe that I have sitting here. Now this is a rough leather shoe, which I believe will make some unique sounds for you. This is a new trigger that may not be around forever, so do enjoy the sound of the shoe. Just simply run the sounds near the mic. There's not a big difference in the sound. At least not from what I can tell you. Shoe. Okay. I think we're going to do one more trigger now. This one. This is your right here. To make some sounds that you can compare both ears at the same time. We're just going to put our fingers in your ears. Here's the SI3D in your left. Here's the 3D on your right. Which one feels better? There's a 3DO. And your other ear. There's a 3D on your right. I'm just going to give you an ear massage, an equivalent ear massage. Similar movements on both sides, similar movements. Okay, a little difficult, my arm positioning. And we do have one more trigger. One more trigger here. It's my favorite. The massage ASMR. The massage ASMR crinkle gloves. We're going to run our hands down the ears, like so. And one more time over here. We're just going to touch around your ears. Little circles. Little tiny circles. And over here, the same little circles. There is a big difference. I am touching the same part of your ear, so what do you feel? What do you feel? And we're going to move over to putting fingers in your ear. Putting fingers in your ear next. We'll start here. Finger. And we'll move over to here. One at a time, my apologies. Just get that taste of the sound. And both of you now. Unbiased. I must be unbiased. You guys should pick what sounds best. Okay, and we'll take those down now. So, we appear to be looming over the 50-minute mark, which is where my brain starts to tell me, just stop. Just stop it. Stop it now. So we're gonna cut things short. We're gonna cut things off, okay? You have one job before you leave this video. Which mic feels better? Which mic sounds better? And number one, which mic does better ASMR? Which mic does better ASMR? Okay, let me know. I hope you enjoyed. This was fun. I'll see you later. Good night and stuff.